Hey, but trying to get the best light here. There you go. I invite those of you to share this video once we get started. Trying to make sure I get some better light here. There you go. Okay, let me see here. There you go. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe I came out too late for the sun. But I just want to talk quickly about this immigration issue that's going on in our Bahamas. What is happening is that we have a big immigration debate is going on. But the problem that I'm seeing is that what we have is a convoluted argument among those that is pro immigration and those who there's really no anti-immigration. It's just basically many individuals have chosen to say they are what do you call pro-legal immigration. I mean, it's kind of hard to define, right? But here's the point. I hear a lot of debate going between the advocates for the human rights and the what you may say called the immigration advocates, and even for those Bahamians who feel they are pretty much fed up with what immigration has done over the last 5 decades. But what I wanted to do with this short video, I hope I keep it real short, is to clarify the convolutedness of the dialogue that has been going on. We have combined about 5 or so different issues into one. What we have is a conversation, I think, that should be on what is called illegal immigration. We have combined illegal immigration with residency, with right to live in the Bahamas, with work permits, with those that accompany those individuals with work permits or with right to live, and citizens, and I don't know what the other classifications we can come up with. But the point is that I think the dialogue is concerning that we should be focused on is illegal immigration. Now, I hear, again, another point I want to inject in here is this whole arguments when we begin to talk about people born in the Bahamas are Bahamians. See, when we begin to talk about the rule of law, we cannot talk about what we want, what we believe, what we were told, what we hope for, what we pray for, what we wish for. We must speak about what we know. The law is for everyone. It isn't what you want it to be, it is what it is. It isn't what the Constitution, what you want the Constitution to say, it's what it says. And I'm going to come back very specifically on number 7 and the great big lie that you need a constitutional referendum to correct what we people are perceived as a defective. I want to just not add too much things to the video. First of all, for individuals who are born in the Bahamas, who neither parents are Bahamians, I want you individuals who are advocating about, well, they're born here, they have a right to live here and everything else, to understand that there is law. We need not interject opinions into this dialogue. The law states, if you are born in the Bahamas, to neither whose parents is Bahamian, you are not Bahamian. And no matter how long you live here in the Bahamas, I don't care if it's 100 years, you are not Bahamian. That's the law. That's not C. Allen Johnson opinion. This is the law. However, there's a caveat to that constitutional protection. Okay? It's a protection. Between the ages of 18 years and 12 months thereafter, should you make application, you have a right, not a privilege, it's not an option. You have a right. You shall be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas, subject to, just the part of number 7 that people don't read, to national security interests or any other requirements or whatever that may be added in law. Not an opinion, in law. And so all we have to do now is go to look to the Nationality Act to see what are these requirements or whatever conditions that is in law, not opinion, not in policy. See, because you have the Constitution, you have the law, then you have policy, then you have procedures. And the hierarchy is the Constitution is supreme. But let's get the Constitution right. The Constitution gives no rights. No more than your building plan would give you the right to use a bathroom you didn't build. Did you get that? You could have a blueprint that said that you should build a bathroom. Should you build a bathroom, this is the requirements for that bathroom. But if you don't build the bathroom, which is create the law, that bathroom is of no use. And so it simply says when you create the laws, this is what the Constitution does. It protects, it prohibits, or permits. It says, when you build this house called the Bahamas, the laws of the Bahamas, these rights will be protected. There's only 2 occasions that we have permission or consent to discriminate, and that's in marriage and in gaming. Note it says you could discriminate. It didn't say you have to. We'll have that discussion too. But back to this whole concept of that you are a Bahamian because you're born here. That's not the truth. I don't care how you feel. The fact is, the Constitution protects you between the ages of 18 and 19, and the law then takes effect after the steps that is needed to be naturalized. We had this conversation about regularize everybody. That's another mistake. Regularization in the Bahamas is not citizenship. It is not citizenship. We have work permits, we have residencies, we have whatever we want in law. It does not have to be citizenship for regularization of individuals. But then we come into this illegality. See, you know how we keep merging these things. How then can you sanction an illegal act? And I come to that on the immigration issue, because then the question I have to ask you is, if you condone the sanctioning of an act because of how long it happened, then why do we pursue murder and rape and robbery? So why the guy, he robbed me 6 months ago, and because the police did not find him, we can argue that it took too long and he should have a right to go free? The law is the law. We must stop being so unclear in our dialogue. It's when we begin to have these gray areas. It's like in the Bahamas, we actually will condone half pregnant. There's no such thing as half pregnant. Either you're pregnant or you're not. From day one, you're pregnant until you give birth. You're pregnant. There's no half pregnant. You can't have no half law. And so if an illegal act has been occurred, let's follow the law. We have laws for good governance. If the laws of the Bahamas says, whether you're American, Jamaican, Haitian, Japanese, Guyanese, Costa Rican, Canadian, whatever, this is the procedures to apply to work in the Bahamas, then let's follow the law. And if you don't like the law, change it. The law can be changed. Even the Constitution has a procedure for changing it. This is not complicated. This is not rocket science. If you don't like the law, petition your government through your MPs or whatever to change the law. But as it stands today, and unless that law is changed retroactively, the law states the procedure for what we have to do. So I'm calling on the activists and the advocates for and against. Let's remove emotion from this dialogue. Let's have clarity on what it is we're trying to achieve as a country. What is in our best interest? But first of all, let's follow the law. And illegality, no matter how long it's occurred, is still illegal. There's no law to give amnesty. So if you have entered the country illegally, regardless of your nationality, you have broken the law. And there's a set procedure for that. I'm going to come back and we're going to have a conversation on how we can have border control rather than this garbage we call border patrol. Now, I said control, not patrol. Because technology now, based on our small demographics, allow us to bring immigration under control in 60 days. And that's going to be another part of this video. But I'm simply here to say to you, here we are having a conversation, combining illegal. Oh, you're discriminating against people because you say illegals must leave or be arrested. For me, giving you a warning is garbage. That's like saying, hey, you robbed somebody. Either you hide or get out of the way or I'm going to arrest you. Just hey, police officers, immigration and whatever, do your job. If someone has committed an illegal act, follow the law. Plain and simple. We don't have no dialogue. If an individual has a work permit, then they have grounds to work. Now, I understand the whole concept of the hurricane and everything happening, but it's an act of nature. If there's no means for which your work permit is attached and the business is gone and there's no timeline for which you will not be re-engaged, then it's only natural that your work permit is no longer attached to the business for which you have consent to be in the country. You do not have a right, because you have a work permit for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or even 5 years, to say you have perpetual right to live in the Bahamas. If your work permit is no longer attached to the business, then there is an expectation that you are no longer needed, and as such, there is an expectation that you should exit the Bahamas. It's not the Bahamas government requirement or responsibility to keep you here. What if, let's pretend if the hurricane didn't come. What if you were fired? Would it then be, or the business went bankrupt, would it then be the government's responsibility to accommodate you to say, well, they fired me and I need to live in the Bahamas because I worked here for 5 years, I worked here for 20 years, I worked here for whatever years. But that's another thing. We're going to fix this whole thing with perpetual work permit forever and ever and ever. You remember they said that you're supposed to have a particular skill and you're transferred to Bahamians? See, we are so mixed up. I mean, our development is like conch salad, man. It's like, what have we been doing for 48 years of independence and 52 years or so of majority rule? And we had 25 years of this. It's in the first technology revolution. We're in the second technology revolution. So, I mean, where were we? Do you know the Bahamas is designated as the most digitally prepared country in the world? And we hate technology except for its consumption. We don't use it for what we need to do to reach our people, to educate our people, to empower our people. And the most powerful thing we can use technology for now is to fix this immigration mess. But if you have a work permit, it doesn't protect you perpetually to live and do whatever you want in the Bahamas. There's a certificate for residency. You can meet that requirement, make the application. Make the application. If you don't, there's no expectation, no matter how long you live here, that you have a right to stay here. If you are illegal, you have committed a crime, and you should follow the full weight of the law should come down on you, regardless of a natural event or if you were caught without it. We can't use the hurricane as justification. The hurricane says we should provide aid for you and comfort, not a right to continue, let me look for another job, let me do whatever else it is for those with work permits, or for the illegals. Technically, in the violation of the law, you should be taken into custody. Regardless, why is it the guy that committed the murder, let's say he get in an auto accident, somebody come at the corner and slam him, nothing to do with him. And we should say, oh, well, you know, it was a natural act, something happened. Let's not arrest him for the murder. You know, he's injured and let's give him comfort and whatever else. No, that's not how the law works. The law is here for good governance. Our Constitution, in our preamble, said we will follow the rule of law. If we can't follow the rule of law, then what are we doing? That's the premise of the very Constitution. That's the preamble of the very Constitution that you're demanding particular rights in. But let's stop mixing up illegal immigration, residency, work permit, citizenship, and everything else. Let's stop perpetrating as if though the Constitution or the law says because you were born in the Bahamas, you have a right to be here. That's not what the law says, regardless of what I want, what I believe, what I think, what I hope for, what I pray for, what I wish for. That's not what the law says. But if we want to have a conversation about an orderly development of our country, let's have that conversation. Not these convoluted arguments where we're combining one thing to hide another. How do you combine a work permit holder with an illegal immigrant? I don't care how long they've been here. The law also provides that if you were born in the Bahamas between the ages of 18 and 19, you can make application for citizenship. If you fail to make application between those process, There is a law that allows you to make application. It just doesn't protect your right to citizenship. But you still have a right to make application. We have laws in our books. Let's examine them. Let's have a conversation about what is needed for the orderly development of our country. Let's stop this conversation and allowing our leaders to imply to us that regularization means citizenship. It does not. We can have, do you know, we can have a conversation about, even for people born in the Bahamas, this whole concept that we have no means of proving that you're a citizen. And let me tell you something. For those of you who say a passport is proof of citizenship, I just went to the passport office and they told me, I have this recorded. They told me a passport is not proof of citizenship. So what is? In 50 years or even 48 years of independence, we can't figure out a means of creating a system that tells us who is a citizen or how do we identify a citizen or not. Are we serious? Are we serious? In the age of technology, with databases and everything, that we can't tell who's a citizenship, who's citizens and who's not. We got the birth certificate, we got the parent information and data, we got everything, supposedly, in technology and data. Just let's correlate it and come up with a means of creating an environment for us to determine who are citizens, how do we identify them? How we identify individuals born in the Bahamas but are not citizens. These are simple IDs, A simple national ID system will work. We got a passport system that's compromised. We must stop being duplicitous people in our behavior, duplicitous in our discussion, convoluted in our dialogue, if we are to be competitive. We are no longer competing against the world, ourselves, We are now in direct competition with 7 billion people around the world. And we joking about simple things. The Bahamas is a small demographics, 400,000 people. Do you know Facebook adds 1 million people to their database every week? And they manage all that information. So does Google, so does Amazon and all of them. Do you know that a laptop was stolen in America with tens of millions of people on one laptop? Total management from ICE with all the information and data. These are small things. We could run the whole Bahamas on one good laptop from Dell. But we're joking. Do you know we have spent over $3 billion on technology in the last 40 years? $3 billion. And we can't run even as a little company. $3 billion. I want you to think about that. $3 billion on technology across this country. And we're still joking. We can't even get a digital document. We can't even get a real-time replay of something. We can't even itemize who's in our country. How do you, Donald Trump told you, you don't even know who's in your country. You could track 400,000 people on one flash drive. One flash drive. $3 billion on technology. Hundreds of millions of dollars in the last 10 years. We hear about police and immigration and this and all of that stuff. And we're still joking. Seriously? Are we really at this level of incompetence, ineptitude, incapability? Or is it just straight out corruption? But please, people, on this immigration issue, if we talk about illegal immigration, let's keep it on illegal immigration. If we're talking on residency, let's keep it on residency. If we're talking about a right to live in the Bahamas, let's talk about that. If we're talking about work permits, let's have a talk on work permits. Stop mixing them all up like Kong salad, because then we begin to have convoluted arguments. If you're legal, my suggestion to you is leave so they won't document you as being illegal, because I'm one to advocate that if you are illegal, that we set some terms and condition for your re-entry into the Bahamas. So it's best for us to not know that you were ever here. And so I would suggest that you leave while we have a conversation on what to do. For those of you who say that, you were born in the Bahamas and you have a right to Bahamianship, that's the Constitution. The very Constitution that you depend on to protect all the other rights. It doesn't give you that right unless you a properly made application between the ages of 18 and 19. If you didn't, then we have a Nationality Act. If there's some things we need to have a discussion on how to address the thousands of you who have failed to do that, then let's have that discussion. You can't make an argument about your right to a citizenship when you fail to exercise the right. So we need to have an argument now is how now can we integrate you into society so we can continue to have good governance and you could partake of the benefits of being in the Bahamas with the exception of the right to vote. Now, I can have that conversation and give you all the rights I have except the right to determine the direction of my country until you have met the requirements of citizenship. Is that too much for you? But don't demand citizenship from me. Don't demand citizenship from my country. We have rules for it to be governed by. You want to have a discussion, and this is for Bahamian men, and this is for me, because I have children out of wedlock. You know, we have had individuals in our country for years, and they call themselves lawyers. They're either incompetent, ignorant, or duplicitous in their argument. Number 14 of the Constitution. And it refers to a male. It's a male aspect, and if a child born and the father is not known, that is a misinterpretation. The Constitution doesn't give a right to the top and then take it away to the bottom. So that tells you right then and there that me, as a single father, if I could prove that I had a child with a non-Bahamian woman, and we have DNA, can you imagine that? Today time we have DNA, I could do that. According to the Constitution, I don't have to marry her. I don't have to adopt my child. I don't have to do any of that to be recognized as my child, my DNA. So let's fix that law. If the law doesn't allow for it, fix it. You did it 10 minutes for dogs, to protect dogs. You did it in 10 minutes to protect turtles. You did it in 10 minutes to protect shark. My God, as a Bahamian, can you give me 10 minutes out of the last 48 years of independence to protect me as a Bahamian so that I could transfer my right to me? See that child is me, you know, the DNA says so. So I could transfer my right to me, my child. That's me. See, we have leadership that's been joking for too long. And we keep choosing tribes. When the world come here, they're not going to recognize the red, the blue, or the green, you know. They're going to recognize as a country they want to conquer. And everybody in the gate will be conquered. Bahamians or non-Bahamians. They're after the country. Don't take it personal. It ain't about you, baby. It's about owning this country. Something that you currently own but don't appreciate. Because you're so busy. How is it if I'm a PLP and I do something, when the PLP is in power, I'm right? Oh, but when the FNM in power, I'm wrong. What type of bullshit is that? It's wrong. When is wrong wrong? Isn't wrong always wrong and right always right? Does the formula for wrong changes based on who's governing? Bahamians, we on the edge of losing our country. We must fight for it. I'm not just talking about fighting the illegals. We must fight to become together as one, a united country. We are the most digitally prepared. We have an ocean resource that 25% of the resources in the world, such as fisheries, comes directly from us. We're the third largest nursery in the world for all sea life. Ocean monopolies going on around us. We're one of the few small nations out of the mega nations that has a right to sit on the ocean board, and we're not there. Why? Because we're fighting about whose shirt is right. The tribalism. China and the United States, a global economy, it's no coincidence they're fighting for the Bahamas. They tell you in the news every day they're fighting for the Bahamas, but you wouldn't fight for yourself. You wouldn't fight to retain what they're fighting for. This reminds me like two people climb in the yard, right? Take the mango off your tree. They're standing at your gate arguing about who should own the mango, and you looking out the window saying, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Damn it, this is your mango, man. Go there and take the mango from them and say, the two of you all just move away from my gate. This is my shit. But back again to immigration, man. Let's have a real conversation on immigration. Illegal immigration. We don't have to have a discussion. And illegality is illegality. When the Prime Minister say, oh, we given warning. What type of shit is that? This is the custodian of the Constitution saying he given warning to enforce the law. Oh, I gotta buy the land because I am incompetent to stop building when nobody can build without my consent. Why you need to buy the land to stop somebody from building when you control the law for building? You can walk right there. You know what you do? Let them build, go back today, knock it down. Let them build, go back today, knock it down. Let them build, go back today, knock it down. You have the right to do that. You don't have to spend millions of dollars to buy any land unless there's some other motive. but we're going to watch you. Going forward, this is our country. We, the Bahamian citizens, are no longer absentee landlords. We're back. We come to claim our land. We come to take what's ours. This new generation of Bahamians have been silent. Silence is no longer an option for us. We are not criticizing you. We're critiquing your actions. We are no longer criticizing you. We're going to critique everything. We're going to trust you, but we're going to verify everything you do. We're going to trust you, but we're going to verify everything you do. Special interests, finances, family, friends, lovers, finances, and special interests, you on warning too. Don't support somebody. We are the majority, silent in the past, but silent no more. For those of you that's advocating for illegality as illegal immigration, we watching you, and we're going to be coming for you too. For those of you on work permit, if your businesses no longer exist, or you came in for one thing and you're not doing another, we welcome you to leave, because at least you will do is preserve your right to re-entry, to reapply, if you have a skill set that we need in building the new Bahamas. For those of you that has failed to make application for citizenship, let's have a discussion on your pathway to citizenship. We're not giving you nothing. You're going to earn it. You're going to earn it. You're going to show yourself to be integrated within our society. Let me go back to those individuals on work permit. We're going to change that law. And nobody going to come into this country unless the person who applying for the work permit for you can show us that they have a means for where you will live. They have a means for where you will be taken care of medically in case something happens. They have a means where they will ship you out of this country should you die. But they have a means for where if you have children, they will be educated. The international agreement says we are to guarantee access, just like any other developing country and developed country in the world. Nowhere in our agreement we said we can provide it for free. Please, don't give me the national insurance thing. That's for you. We talking about taxes? You pay that? Let me tell people, oh, I pay taxes. Let me ask you a question, man. Are you driving on the roads? Are you using the airports? Huh? Are you having the protection of the police? That's where your taxes go. Don't tell me like you pay taxes for me because you're in my country. No, you're not. You're paying taxes to support the things that protect you, that makes the life that you come here to enjoy good. See, these convoluted conversations gotta end, man. Real talk. Let's have thought and no more talk. But on this immigration issue again, I'm back to it again. I didn't mean to run on. It's full of garbage. For you activists, stop it. I said I can call you out one by one. Again, I say to you, if you're illegal, leave. If your a business that the work that you came for no longer exists or you're no longer working for the company, I welcome you to leave so we don't stop you from coming back. If your business has been destroyed by an act of God, I welcome you as we begin to facilitate you to leave. Nowhere does a work permit or an illegal act gives you entitlement to perpetual residence in the Bahamas. I'm sorry, the law doesn't say so. If I'm wrong, point me to it. For those of you that are citizens, I call on you to demand upholding the law. The law is for your protection. The law is for your protection. Okay? So, for those of you that's born in the Bahamas and procedures and whatever it is cause you not to apply, let's have a conversation on a pathway to citizenship, not a right to citizenship. The right was given to you by the Constitution and the law. We missed that opportunity. For those of you that made the application, doing the right amount of time, then let's talk about how to accelerate getting you to the point where you should be. But let's have an organized, succinct conversation on immigration, not to do the garbage that we have been continuing to do. We can do this right. We have one time to get it right. Or we could risk losing the Bahamas. Thank you so much, Bahamas, for tuning in. Please share the video. And any comments. I invite any comments and I invite any contrasting point of view. If you don't want to say it in public, inbox me. WhatsApp me, 443-7189. 443-7189. And if I made some mistake, let me know. I'm not afraid to correct it. Now, as I say, thank you once again for tuning in. Share the video. Let's have an organized, succinct conversation on immigration. Let's have a talk about the Constitution. Let's have a talk about the law. Let's have a talk about leadership. Thank you so much.